YouTube. So I'm sorry that I haven't made a video in a while, but something really exciting has happened and I thought I'd make a video and bring you guys along with me. I got accepted into the Disney College program. Today's the 3rd, so I leave at the end of this month on January 31st, and I'm super excited about it. So I thought I would make a video, or a series of videos, about my experience for applying, being a disabled college participant with the Disney College program. So I thought I would start with my application process. I applied, well, first let's go back to when I found out about the Disney College program. So it was my first week of college, and it was my first week really exploring the college campus. And on one of the tables where you first walk into the doors and they have like this information table out, there was a flyer sitting there that had the Mickey Mouse logo and said Disney. So I asked the person that was sitting there, I'm like, what's this about? And they explained to me that it was the Disney College program where you can go to Disney, work, go to school, and get credit. You can basically work for Disney and get credit for it. In order to get credit, you actually need to take a class with the college program, but you get to work for Disney basically. So I thought, okay, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm interested. Who do I talk to? And he at the time he was not my supervisor, but he would become my supervisor for when I worked at the college. Tracked me down and was like, so you're interested in the college program? Here's 1, 2, 3 steps on what you need to do to apply. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. So I actually applied 3 times. 3rd time's the charm. And the first time I did not even make it to the interview process, and probably because I applied really late in the season. I did not even get an interview. The second time, I got through the whole interview process, but because of, I don't know if it's because of because they get a high volume of people who are interested and they can only accept so many people. I'm pretty sure that is why I wasn't accepted. My status did stay at pending for the longest time, so I don't know where that put me. I've heard things about people who are pending. That kind of means like it means different things basically. Whereas you're not always guaranteed to get in when you are sitting at pending. The third time I applied, I made it through the whole interview process, and my status stayed at in progress for about a month. And on October 11th of last year, I got the magical email that says, congratulations, you are accepted. Here is your job offer. Please accept or deny this request. So I obviously accepted. A little bit about the interview process, pretty much straightforward. I wouldn't know because I've only had one other job. So it's pretty interesting. Disney is my second job. So, yay! So the interview process is basically you fill out the application online. It's basically where you're going to school, your past job experience. It's pretty much basically straightforward, the regular job interview application that you would fill out. So you fill that in and you send it off, and then, and also during the application you kind of explain like what jobs you are interested in, what jobs you don't want to do, what Disney park you want to work at. And I don't mean like Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom. I mean, like, do you want to work in Florida? Do you want to work in California? In my applications, I always just chose Florida because I have family in Florida. So, and it's the one I'm most familiar with. I know nothing about California, so for my first college program, I am going to do Florida. My whole application was jobs for Florida, at the Florida park, which there are about 27, if I can remember off the top of my head. There are 27 jobs. I'll get to that in a minute. So you go through the whole application process, explain, like, show interest in which ones you want to do, make sure to do some research so that you know what different roles and responsibilities each job has. Then you can have a better idea of what you want to do, basically. There's some roles, especially with me having a disability, I would not be able to do. Custodial, maybe. That is a huge maybe. Like housekeeping, I could probably not do at all. Monorail, I definitely could not do. Like anything with driving, I cannot do. Obviously, I'm blind. I do not have a driver's license. But just things like that. So just kind of just know a little bit about what you're doing. So after the whole application process is done and over with, you sit and wait. A lot of this is the waiting game, which kind of really, really sucks. It's a lot of anticipation. You wait and see if you get the online interview, which is basically a bunch of questions relating to your personality and stuff like that. So answer truthfully, honestly, and basically what Disney is looking for is a personality where, like, you would go above and beyond what you're supposed to do, and you would do anything to make somebody's day. That's basically the personality that Disney wants. But anyways, so after you do that whole online interview, you will know right away whether you got a yes or no, because it will tell you right afterwards if you move on to the phone interview or not. So both times, well, for 2 of my applications, I made it to the phone interview. So after you do the online interview and you pass it, basically, you go on to the phone interview, which you can actually schedule that like right after you do the online interview. So I scheduled it. I think I waited maybe a day or so to schedule it, and I did a screw up. Because Disney is an international business, they have several different time zones, and not just the ones for the United States. So they have Central Time Zone, they have Central America Time Zone. I picked Central America Time Zone. Just my advice is keep it at Eastern Time, and just remember, like, if you're a Central Time Zone like I am, just remember that it is actually 1 hour before, your interview is 1 hour before what your information thing actually says. Because, yeah. That was fun. That got me the question of, are you going to school under a visa, or are you an international student? And like, no, I just picked the wrong time zone. You sit down and do the phone interview when it's scheduled, obviously. Phone, shut up. Now I know where my phone is. My phone interview, I think both phone interviews were 25 minutes long. Which time, it depends. You want a lengthy phone interview. That means that they're interested in you. I have heard of some cases where people do not have long phone interviews and they get in. It's circumstantial. It's very, person-to-person based, but according to my Disney representative, aka my former supervisor, I don't know why I'm doing air quotes, but my former supervisor, you want a long interview. That shows that they're interested in you. So during the phone interview, they ask a lot of generic questions that they ask everyone. It's basically a lot of generic stuff. I don't remember if they ask you. They still ask you, like, if you're going to school, what your status is. Like, I would be a sophomore. but because I'm a little bit slower with my classes, I'm still freshman status. They didn't really care about that. They just wanted to make sure I was still going to school and wasn't taking a break and applying for this program that is for people that are in college. Anyway, this is everywhere. So they ask you, like, if you're still in school. They ask you if you have a driver's license. I obviously don't, and they reassured me. One thing I would say is don't make a big deal about the whole driver's license thing, especially if you are blind. Just say, no, you don't have a driver's license, and it's completely fine. Like, just don't make a big deal out of it. So, and I made that mistake. I made a huge ass deal about not having being blind and not having a driver's license. It was very awkward. Don't do it. Fun stuff. Anyway, they asked if I was familiar with the Disney look, which is, without getting into too much detail, you have to look natural and you have to look presentable, obviously. So, like, I can't have my hair dyed any crazy colors. I can't have it cut, like, I can't have this side buzzed off and then the side's, like, long like this. Like, you can't have any of that. Has to look natural, has to be a natural color, so you can dye your hair. However, you have to dye it before the program, and your roots cannot be showing. Like, it all has to be a natural color. You can't have any body modifications. Like, I can have, since I'm a girl, I can have one earlobe piercing per ear, but any other piercings I have, I either have to take out or just not get. I can't have any tattoos showing. They ask if you have any tattoos showing outside of a one-piece bathing suit, and that's because one of their roles or jobs is a lifeguard, so that's why they ask that. So they ask you general stuff about that, and then they ask you kind of like what you're interested in, and well, actually, they kind of start asking you general questions about like what you're interested in, what jobs you're interested in, and they ask you questions about those specific jobs. For attractions, they asked me if I was used to talking, well, they more stated instead of asked, because my former job was a proctor, so obviously I was used to talking to people and giving spiels in front of large amounts of people. Granted, I wasn't doing it into a microphone. That would be the only difference, but that's not really a huge difference. So they asked me that question. They asked me if what would be the first thing I would say to someone who was entering the park, because for Florida, attractions also includes the garage and the front gate, as well as rides and shows. So I would be the first face. If I was working at the front gate, I would be the first face that they would see coming into the park. So they asked me what would I say, and I just kind of kept it very general. My answer is very general. It was just, they're trying to get into the park, so I wouldn't talk to them too much. I just ask, what are they really excited? What are they most excited about? If there was a child and they had like a character, I have Hello Kitty right now, but if they had a character on their shirt, or if I could see that they had a character on their shirt, I would say, oh, who's that? Are you excited to see? Insert character name. Things like that. Just keep it very simple and stuff. And I think probably the best advice I can give for the phone interview is just have fun. Don't worry about it too much. Otherwise, you're going to freak out and be completely stressed out and ramble about stuff that doesn't need to be talked about. And you're completely going to overthink it. So, yeah, just have fun. Oh, and they also talk to you about, they ask you to describe your jobs, the things that you have listed. So some of the things that I listed were my job as a proctor, and because I only had one job, I had to kind of get a little bit creative. I did do a lot of volunteer work, and I also do direct sales kind of as a hobby, so I did talk a little bit about that. So just different things like that. So then after that, you have the time to say what you're interested in. And then the last part of the phone interview is probably the most crucial, and that is like your time to say if you have a role that you're interested in or a place that you're interested in working or so on and so forth. When they say, do you have any questions, that's when you talk about that. Another good question to ask is, what magical moments has your interviewer had at the park? That is a huge one. As far as accessibility, don't ask that for the phone interview. I did. They could not answer it because that's not their department. That actually comes later. One thing I love about Disney and the whole application thing, I didn't even have to say I was blind. Like, I probably could have gone, I sort of did because when I was describing the whole front gate thing, I had to say, I had to ask what character the child has on their shirt. I mentioned on my application that I did work with National Federation of the Blind, kind of indicated that I was blind, but like I never said straight out I'm blind. Not directly anyway, I don't think. But you basically don't have to say straight out what you have. So I kind of like that. You don't have to do that until basically you get accepted. Then the magical day came, I got accepted, and yeah. I'm gonna have so much fun trying to edit this. Or whoever helps me edit this is really gonna have a hell of a lot of fun, because I've been rambling a lot. Basically, the application process is pretty straightforward, it's pretty easy, it's just basically a lot of waiting, which kind of sucks. I don't know what other videos I'm going to be making of this. I'm probably going to be making a lot of videos leading up to my departure to Florida, so stay tuned for those. Hope you guys enjoy. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Turn on notifications. I need to stop doing this because this is not allowed. This point right here is not allowed. I have to do this, so I need to start doing that. Anyway, so like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video.